Baruch Shabbat Yom, brothers and sisters, Hebrews in Jamaica, the Caribbeans due west, to the four corners of the earth scattered greetings. This Shabbat lesson we're going to tackle it. Curse is the man that put their trust in another man. What does that mean, brothers and sisters? Curse is the man that put their trust in another man, brothers and sisters. So we're going to start with the Shabbat lesson scripture, Yirmiyahu, brothers and sisters, 17:5-9. That's Jeremiah 17:5-9. It's all on the screen, Thus saith Yahuwah, cursed be the man that trusted in man. Thus saith Yahuwah, cursed be the man that trusted in man. Thus saith Yahuwah, cursed be the man that trusted in man and maketh flesh his arm, that means his strength, right? And whose heart departed from Yahuwah. For he shall be like heath in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh. So what heath mean, brothers and sisters, Okay, brothers and sisters, look at your screen. We're going to tell you the meaning of, or description of heath. What's the meaning of it? The biblical meaning. The biblical meaning for heath, as described in the Bible, right? The term heath refers to a shrub or tree. It is mentioned in Jeremiah 48:6-7. Another related term is shalom, which means peace, and is used in various expressions relating to security, success, and good bodily health. The specific heath mentioned in Jeremiah 17:6 is likely a species of juniper, possibly the savin, which grows in the most sterile parts of the desert, brothers and sisters, right? And here on your screen, brothers and sisters, you see an image of the species of juniper as mentioned in the description of heath, right? You can see right there juniper and the species thereof. Brothers and sisters? Alright, let's continue. Right, so let's go over verse 6 again. For he shall be like the heath. We just discussed that and show you the description and the meaning of heath in the desert, right? And shall not see when good cometh, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land and not inhabited. Blessed is the man that trusteth in Yahuwah, and whose hope in Yahuwah is. Blessed is the man that trusteth in Yahuwah, and whose hope Yahuwah is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat come. So it's two different heat. The heat is like the climate, you see. And heath is a species of plant, the herbal plant. Huh? For he shall be as she planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat, as in the climate, heat cometh. But her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruits. The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? The heart is deceitful above all things, and desperately wicked. Who can know it? The heart is deceitful above all things, and that's where the wicked. Who can know it? That's why you can't put your trust not even in yourself, because many of you deceive yourselves. So you gotta put your trust in the Most High Yah, in Yahusha's name, that He may guide you with the Ruach HaKodesh. Because many of you put your trust in yourself and deceive yourself with your own lying tongues and ways and nature and deeds. You see. So in Jeremiah, brothers and sisters, right? In Jeremiah, when the statement says that shall not be careful in the year of drought, what that means, right? Fear to be preferred, as is shown by the parallelism, shall not be careful to, which is the reading proposed. The latter was doubtless suggest the mass, right? Shall not be careful in the year. Because as planted by the waterside, it is independent of rain. That means it's preferred in the year of drought, you see. And why is preferred in the year of drought? Because as planted by the waterside, it is independent of rain. That means in the time or the year of drought, you understand, and you plant and your trees is planted by the waterside, it is independent of rain. That means it doesn't really need rain because it has its water source. You see, brothers and sisters. So we're gonna go a little bit more further. I want to go in more on the statement that Yirmiyahu stated, brothers and sisters, huh? That with the heat, huh? Okay, brothers and sisters, the heat in the desert and the tree by the river, right? Try to explain that some more further, because we already went over the mean biblical of heat, right? We went over that and the definition, right? So let's go a little bit more, right? So the heat in the desert and the tree by the river, right? The prophet here puts before us two highly finished pictures, huh? In the one, the hot desert stretches on all sides. The fierce sunbeams like swords stay every green thing. The salt particles in the soil glitter in the light. No living creature breaks the melancholy solitude. It is a wasteland where no one came or had come since the making of the world. Here and there are stone grey prickly shrub, struggles to live and just manages not to die, but it has no grace of leaf nor profitableness of fruit, and it only serves to make the desolation more desolate. The other carries us to some brimming river where everything lives because water has come. The picture are colored by Eastern experiences, for in those lands more than beneath our humid skies and weaker sunshine, the presence or absence of running water makes the difference between brimness and fertility, dipping their boughs in a sparkling current and driving their roots through the moist soil, and bordering trees lift aloft their pride of foliage and bear fruits in their season. So say Jeremiah, who the two pictures represents two sets of men. The one, he who diverges from their true object, his heart, capacities of love and trust, and clings to creatures and to men, making flesh his arm, and departing from the living Eliyahu. The other, he who leans the whole way of his needs and cares and sins and sorrows upon Eliyahu. We can make choice of which shall be the object of our trust. And according as we choose the one or the other, the experience of these vivid pictures will be ours. Right? So let me briefly then draw out the point of contrast in these two companion sketches, brothers and sisters, huh? One is in the desert, the other by the river. Underneath the picture, there lies this thought that the direction of a man's trust determines the whole course of his life, because it determines, as it were, the soil in which he grows. We can alter our habit. The plant is fixed, but I saw men as trees. Yes, brothers and sisters, but as trees walking, we can walk and can settle where we shall be rooted and whence we shall draw our inspiration, our confidence, our security. The man that chooses, for it is a matter of choice to trust in any creature, thereby wills, though he does not know it, that he shall dwell in a sought land and not inhabit it. The man that chooses to cast his whole self into the arms of Eliyahu, and in a paroxysm of self-distrust to realize the divine helpfulness and presence, that man will soon know that he is planted by the river. Now the poor little dusty shrub in the desert, whose very leaves have been modified into prickles, is fit for the desert and is as much at home there as are the willows by the water courses with their lush vegetation in their moist bed. But if a man makes that fatal choice which so many of us are making, of shutting out Eliyahu from his confidence and his love, and squandering these upon earth and upon creatures, he is as fatally out of harmony with the place which he has chosen for himself, and as much away from his natural soil as a tropical plant would be amongst the snows of Arctic glaciers or water lily in the Sahara. Considering all that I am and need, what and where is my home, where is my true home, and the soil in which I can grow securely? The fear no evil, brethren. There is only one answer to that question. The very make of a man's spirit points to Eliyahu, and to Eliyahu alone has a natural place for him to root and grow in. Hence, the good seed, the parable with the good seed and fall on good ground. As a natural place for him to root and grow in. I, the poorest and humblest of men, will never be right, never feel that we are in our native soil and compassed with the appropriate surroundings, until we have laid our hearts and our hands on the breasts of Eliyahu and rested ourselves on him. Not more surely do gills and fins proclaim that the creature that has them is meant to roam through the boundless ocean. Nor the anatomy and wings of the bird witness more plainly to its destination to soar in the open heavens than the make of your spirit testify that Eliyahu, and none less or lower, is your portion. We are built for Eliyahu, and unless we recognize and act upon that conviction, we are like the prickly shrub in the desert. Whatever good may be around us, and if we do recognize and act upon it, whether parched ground may seem to stretch on all sides, there will be soil moist enough for us to draw refreshment and vitality from it. If that be so, brethren, what insanity, insanity, the lives of multitudes of us are. As well might bees try to suck honey from a vase of wax flowers, as we to draw what we need from creatures, from ourselves, from visible and material things. What could you businessmen think of someone who went and sold out all his stocks of government or other sound securities, and then flung the proceeds down a hole in South Africa, out of which no gold will ever come? He would be about as wise as are the people who fancy that these hearts of theirs will ever be at home, except they find a home in Eliyahu. Where else will you find love that will never fail, brothers and sisters, nor change nor die? Where else will you find an object for the intellect that will yield inexhaustible material of contemplation and delight? Where else infallible direction for the will? Where else shall weakness find unfailing strength, or sorrow adequate consolation, or hope certain fulfillment, or fear a safe hiding place? Nowhere besides. Oh then, brethren, do I beseech you, turn away your hearts, confidence and love from earth and creatures, for until the roots of your life go down into Eliyahu and through his son Yahushua Mashiach, and you draw your life from him, you are not in your right soil. Okay, the one take in no real good, the other can fear no evil. So we're going to break this part down, right? One verse of our text says, he shall not see when good cometh. The other one, according to our authorized version, he shall not see what heat cometh. But a very slight alteration of one word in the original gives a better reading, which is adopted in the revised version, where we have and shall not fear when heat cometh. That alteration is obviously correct, because there follows immediately a parallel clause, and shall not be careful or anxious in the year of drought. In both these clauses, the metaphor of the tree is a little let go, and the man who is signified by it comes rather more to the front than in the remainder of the picture, but that is quite natural. So look at these two simple thoughts for a moment. He who trusts is set upon creatures is thereby disabled from recognizing what is his highest good. So he whose trust is set upon creatures is thereby disabled from recognizing what is his highest good. His judgment is perverted. There is the explanation of the fact that men are contented with the partial and evanescent blessedness that may be drawn from human loves and companionship and material things. It is because they have gone blind, and the false direction of their confidence has put out their eyes. And if any of my hearers are living carelessly about Eliyahu and all that comes from him, and perfectly contented with that which they find in this visible diurnal sphere, that is not because they have the good which they need, but because they do not know that good when they see it, typically in today's society and in most so relationships, and have lost the power of discerning what is really for their benefit and blessedness. There is nothing sadder in this world than the conspiracy into which men seem to have entered to ignore the highest good and to profess themselves contented with the lowest. I remember a rough parable of Luther's, the roughness of which may be pardoned for the force and vividness of it which bears on this matter. He tells how a company of swine were offered all manner of dainty and refined foods, and how with an unanimous swinish grunt they answered that they preferred the warm reeking grains from their mash tub. The illustration is coarse, but it is not an unfair representation of the choice that some of us are making. See, choices are key, brothers and sisters. The choice that you made affect the next generation. Let's use the parent setting of a father and a mother. The choice that the father and mother makes, right, affect the children. You see what I mean? All right, let's look like this. Say your father and mother miss the opportunity to get a property, right? So that missed opportunity now forced the family now to continue to live in rental properties, right? So when the parents die, guess what happened? There's nothing passed on to that child, so that child gonna go on more unlikely living in a rental property. You see, brothers and sisters, more likely. Huh? It might be possible also that child could end up getting their own home, but more likely and so is gonna be the rental properties. You understand? And yeah, everything is factoring based in the economy and so forth like that. Huh? But if the parent had made proper choice, informed decision, and did get that house, guess what happened now? That child is set up, or those siblings are set up. Because when the father and mother dies, it is passed on to the child, and they're going to have children, and they're going to pass on to that child, and so it's wealth building. You see, that's good choice. You see, brothers and sisters. And so he cannot see when good cometh. Eliyahu comes, and I would rather have some more money. Eliyahu comes, and I prefer some woman's love. Eliyahu comes, and I would rather have a prosperous business. Eliyahu comes, and I prefer beer. So I might go the whole round. The man that cannot see good when it is there before his face, because the false direction of his confidence has blinded his eyes, cannot open his heart to it. It comes, but it does not come in. It surrounds him, but it does not enter into him. You are plunged, as it were, in a sea of possible facility, which will be yours if your heart's direction is toward Eliyahu, and the surrounding oceans of blessedness has little power to fill your heart, as the sea has to enter some hermetically sealed flask dropped in the middle of the Atlantic. He cannot see when good cometh. Blind, blind, blind are multitudes of us, hence blind leading the blind. Turn to the other side. He shall not fear when he cometh, which is evil in those eastern lands, and shall not be careful in the year of drought. The tree that sends its roots towards a river that never fails does not suffer when all the land is parched. The man who has driven his roots into Eliyahu and is drawing from the deep source, which is Yahusha, what is needful for his life and fertility, has no occasion to dread any evil, nor to gnaw his heart with anxiety as to what he is to do in parched days. Troubles may come, but they do not go deeper than the surface. It may be all cracked and caked and dry, a thirsty land where no water is, and yet deep down there may be moisture and coolness. Faith, which is trust, and fear are opposite poles. If a man, when the scripture talk about man or mankind, is involved both male and female, because again, man is the root, man is the foundation. Yahuwah created Adam, the black man first, so-called black man. We use that typical term, black man or black woman, you know what I mean, to identify us, even though we're not black. We are Hebrews from the royal house of Yisrael and Yehuda. Faith, which is trust, and fear are opposite pole. If a man has the one, he can scarcely have the other. In vigorous operation, he that has his trust set upon Eliyahu does not need to dread anything except the weakening or the paralyzing of that trust, for so long as it lasts, it is a talisman which changes evil into good. The true philosopher's stone, which transmutes the baser metal into gold, and so long as it lasts, Eliyahu's shield is round him, and no evil can befall him. Brethren, if our trust is in Eliyahu, it is unworthy of it and of us to fear, for all things are his, and there is no evil in evil, as men call it, so long as it does not draw away our hearts from our Father and our hope. Therefore, he that fears, let him trust He that trusts, let him not be afraid. He that sets his heart and anchors his hopes of safety and any except Eliyahu, let him be afraid, brothers and sisters. For he is in a very stern world, and if he is not fearful, he is a fool. Hence, a little fear is healthy, keeps you sharp, keep you witty, keep you observant, and your head in a swivel, So the direction of our trust, it is right. So the direction of our trust, if it is right, shuts all real evil out from us, and it is wrong, shuts out from all real good. So the direction of our trust, if it is right, shuts all real evil out from us, and if it is wrong, shut out all form of real good. Okay, brothers, so I'll give you a little breakdown of the heath in the desert and the tree by the river, right? So cursed be the man. Cursed be the man, brothers and sisters. The words are vehement and abrupt, but they burst from the prophet's lips as proclaiming the root evil that had eaten into the life of his people in Israel. Their trust in an arm, strength, power of flesh had led them to Mizraim, Egyptian, and Assyrian alliances, and these and those alliances led the children of Israel into idol worship and false god worship. You see, brothers and sisters, and that was the anger kindled against them. I could see that evidence when the Moses led them in the desert and they begin to get agitated because Moses spent 40 days and 40 nights upon Mount Sinai, and they begin to create molten image in the form and image of a cow. So their trust in an arm of flesh had led them to Mizraim, Egyptian and Assyrian alliances, and these to departing from Yahuwah. So because of that alliance, it caused the children of Israel to departing from Yahuwah and become an anima as its counterpart. In the Beatitude of Yirmiyahu 17 and 7, the opening words, thus said Yahuwah, indicate perhaps a pause followed by a new message which the prophet feels bound to deliver. It is significant that the prophet uses two words for the man, the first implying strength and the second weakness. Who places that confidence in the wisdom of our power, the kindness or faithfulness of any man or number of men, which ought to be placed in Eliyahu only? That is miserable is the man that doeth so, for he leans upon a broken reed which will not only fail him, but will run into his hand and pierce it. It must be observed, however, that the prophet denounces this curse here chiefly with respect to the confidence with which the Jews place in the assistance of the Egyptians and their other alliance when threatened by the Chaldeans and naked flesh his arm. Trusts for support or aid in a mere mortal man turned flesh to show his weakness and fragility in opposition to the power of the Almighty and immortal Eliyahu, and whose heart departed from Yahuwah, as the hearts of all do who put their trust in man. They may perhaps draw nigh to Eliyahu with their mouth and honor him with their lips, but really their hearts are far from him. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, Hebrew like the tamarisks, as some render the word virgultum, teniyu, shumili, fragile, says Boxhorf, a small, low, and weak shrub. Sapless and useless, he shall be barren of solid comfort, of the present and destitute of well-grounded hopes for the future, and shall not see when good cometh, and shall not partake of any good, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, from whence he came, derive no profit or consolation. In salt land, barren and unfruitful. You understand? You could see that description and in Davraim, Deuteronomy 29 and 23, and Judges 9 and 45. You can go and read that on your own, brothers and sisters. Right? Observe well, readers, they that trust in their own righteousness and strength and think they can save without the merit and grace of the Mashiach, thus make flesh their arm. People that say, oh, they trust themselves. The scripture said that the heart is desperately the wicked. Who can know it? The heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? How can you put your trust in yourself? Trust the most so that you can do the right thing. That's the correct method. Trust the most in Yahushua Mashiach, in that you will do the right thing. By you doing so, the Ruach HaKodesh will guide you to do the right thing. But how will you learn to do the right thing? By studying the scriptures, by keeping the commandments. And that's your anchor. Yahusha is your anchor. If you would have come to him in spirit and in truth. So observe well, reader. They that trust in their own righteousness and strength and think they can be saved without the merit and grace of the Mashiach, thus make flesh their arm. Observe well, reader. They that trust in their own righteousness and strength and think they can be saved without the merit and grace of the Mashiach, thus make their flesh, just make flesh their arm, and their souls cannot prosper either in grace or comfort. They can neither produce the fruits of acceptable obedience to Eliyahu, nor reap the fruits of saving blessings from him that dwell in a dry land. He who puts confidence in man shall be like the heath in a desert, a naked tree, sorry shrub, the product of barren ground, useless and worthless. Those who trust to their own righteousness and strength and think they can do without Christ make their flesh arm, and their souls cannot prosper in grace or comfort. Hence the righteousness of man is as filthy rags. Because they put their trust in their own righteousness. Those who make Eliyahu their hope shall flourish like a tree always green, whose leaf does not wither. They shall be fixed in peace and satisfaction of mind. They shall not be anxious in a year of drought. Those who make Eliyahu their hope have enough in him to make up the want of all creature comfort. They shall not cease from yielding fruit in holiness and good works. The heart, the consciousness of man in his corrupt and fallen state is deceitful above all things. It calls evil good and good evil, and cries peace to those whom he does not belong. Here in the heart is desperately wicked. Here for the heart is desperately wicked. It is deadly. It is desperate. The case is bad indeed if the consents which should set aright the errors of other faculties. It is a leader in the delusion. We cannot know our own hearts, nor what they will do in an hour of temptation. Let me repeat. We cannot know our own hearts, nor what they will do in an hour of temptation. Let me repeat. We cannot know our own hearts, nor what they will do in an hour of temptation. Who can understand his errors, brothers and sisters? Much less can we know the hearts of others or depend upon them. He that believes Eliyahu's testimony in this matter and learns to watch his own heart will find this is a correct, though a sad picture. Brothers and sisters, and learns many lessons to direct his conduct. But much in our own hearts and in the hearts of others we remain unknown. Yet whatever wickedness there is in the heart, Eliyahu sees it. Men may be imposed upon, but Eliyahu cannot be deceived. He that gets riches and not by right, though he may make them his hope, never shall have joy of them. This shows, brothers and sisters, what vexation it is to a worldly man that he must leave his riches behind, but though the wealth will not follow to another world, guilt will, and everlasting torment. The rich man takes pains to get an estate and sits brooding upon it, but never has any satisfaction in it. By sinful coursing it comes to nothing. Let us be wise in time. What we get, let us get it honestly, and what we have, use it charitably, that we may be wise for eternity. Hallelujah. In the rest of the prophecy, Jeremiah who dwells upon the moral faults which had led to Yahuda's ruin. Referring to the Yahudians' proneness to rely on Egypt in its fear of Assyria and Babylon. Just this word is empathetic. We may expect help from men so far as Eliyahu enables them to help us. We may expect help from men so far as Eliyahu enables. This word is emphatic. We may expect help, brothers and sisters, from men so far as Eliyahu enables them to help us, but we must rest our trust in Eliyahu alone. It was the great sin of this people in Israel, for which they are often taxed in Holy Writ, when any danger threatened them for their sins, to make leagues with and flee to foreign idolatrous nations to help and succor them, and to repose a confidence in them. And so bolster up themselves in their wicked and sinful courses, promising themselves deliverance from the danger that threatens them by the pour of their confederates and allies. This sin the prophet here reflects upon, that while their hearts departing from Eliyahu, they would yet encourage themselves from the hope for help of man. The prophet from Eliyahu declares that such are and shall be cursed, and mention man under the notion of flesh to show his fragility or his frailty and impotency to help against the mighty power and the wrath of Eliyahu, withal showing us that Eliyahu alone is the true object of our faith and confidence, as well for the things of this life as those of another life, and that none whose heart departed from Eliyahu can with any security look for any help from the creature. Thus Yahuwah here begins a new discourse or part of one or however another cause or reason of the rule and destruction of the Yehuadins is suggested, namely their trust in man or confidence in the creature which is resented and condemned. Cursed be the man that trusted in man, as the Yehuadins did in the Mizraims, the Egyptians and the Syrians, and in Abraham their father, and in being his seed, as they did in the Mashiach's time, and which was trusting in the flesh, as all such may be said to do who trust in their natural descent from good men. They also trust in Moshe, in the law of Moshe's, and in their having, hearing, obeying it, which pronounces every man cursed that does not perfectly perform it. They trusted in themselves and in their own righteousness, despise others and rejecting the Mashiach and his righteousness, and brought an anathema upon them. No, means sin. I'm not sin, I mean disease. You see, anathema. And all such that trust in their own hearts and in their own works, trust in man and in the creature, in creatures, acts and involve themselves in the curse here denounced. The Yuhadins also to this day expect the Messiah to come as a mere man and so trust in him as such. All those that call themselves believers and take Mashiach to be a mere creature as the Arians and as mere man as the Soconians may be said to trust in man and entail a curse upon themselves. Though we trust in the Mashiach, yet not as a man, but as he is the true and living Eliyahu, and make it flesh his arm or his confidence as the Targum to lean upon and be protected by. Man is but flesh, feeble, weak, and inactive, frail and mortal, sinful and corrupt, and so very unfit to make an arm of. Again, arm means strength. All to depend upon Eliyahu and an arm of flesh are opposed to each other, as are also rejoicing in the Mashiach Yahusha and having confidence in the flesh, and whose heart departed from Yahuwah, as men hearts may be under the greatest show of outward religion and righteousness, and as they always do when they put their trust in such things, every act of unbelief and distrust of Yahuwah and every act of trust and confidence in creature carry the heart off from Eliyahu. Every such act is a departing from the living Eliyahu. You see, flee religion. Thus said Yahuwah, cursed be the man that trusted in man, and make it flesh his arm, whose heart departed from Eliyahu. The Yuhadins were given to worldly policies and thought to make themselves strong by the friendship of the Egyptian Rahims. Can we read that in Isaiah 31:3, and strangers, and in the meantime did not depend on Eliyahu. And therefore he denounced Eliyahu's plague against them, showing that they prefer corruptible man to Eliyahu, who is immortal. How sad that is, brothers and sisters. We got to put our trust in the Most High, in Yahusha's name. Even when times are hard and it look like there is no hope and there's no way out. You know what I mean? By trusting the Most High and putting your works to him and putting your works to formalize and materialize what your aim and goal is. Before you know it, you will achieve it, brothers and sisters. But you got to be a participant in the victory already won by Yahusha, by his Father, You see, brothers and sisters, so we got to, strengthen ourselves. Don't get me wrong. It might seem hard. We might think it's hard because we're in the flesh and we go through fleshly things and pains and doubt. But the goal is to remind yourself, reassure yourself in the faith in the Mashiach and the faith in his Father. That's why King David in the God said, create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit. The renewing of the spirit, every day you got to renew your spirit. You got to tell yourself, the Most High will not leave nor forsake me. I will trust the Most High with all my heart in Yahusha's name. You understand? But you got to put in your works by saying these words, keeping the commandments, and having faith and work towards your goal. You understand? So on that note, Baruch Yahuwah Tisibahot, Baruch Yahushua Mashiach, Shana, Vishna, blessed love and shalom.